Out of the 6 and now 7 piano instruments I have in my current library from Native Instruments, I've covered all of them in detail except for piano colors. And well, piano colors is an interesting one because it's really complex. It's not just a piano, it is like a palette of different colors with which you can paint your different ideas. So let's take a look at piano colors right here. And now, it has some traditional piano sounds, and that's one of the ones that I pulled up right now just for us to get a feel of what is possible. Right now we're using something called the Buttersoft preset, and these presets trigger a number of different things. So we're going to look at the sections here, but we're going to look at them as it would appear when you first open the instrument. So we're going to open up a fresh instance of piano colors. Right now it has aleatoric sequence as the loaded preset. Let's look at the sections here. So we have on the far left the arpeggiator. It looks very much like the step sequencer in Session Strings, and this allows you to do different patterns in this case. Now, the arpeggiator controls what's happening in the middle sections. So on the far right, I'll get into the middle sections in just a minute. On the far right, we have our global volume, or global control here. So we'll put that back to 0. So that's the arpeggiator. Here we have noises, and noises is your typical piano noises. We got our pedal noises, we got our mechanical noises of our our hammers and strings. Okay, string pedal, damper, rumble over here. We have the felt, which if you're familiar with una corda or noir, then you know about the felt presets. And then we can even have pianist noises. We can add the noises of tube microphones. Go ahead and crank that up. Adds more white noise than we really need. Well, in this instance, there may be some cases where you want to make it sound like an old recording, and that's the case in which you would use the white noise. Not the white noise, that's in this setting, and crank it all the way up to the top. There are a number of different presets in there. Okay, so that's the noises tab. Then we got layers. In this case, we have layer 1 is the Buttersoft, which is the same as the piano preset that we opened with. You can hear that there. Let's go back to this one. So you can hear the piano's the same. Plus noises. Okay, so these are all the different settings for this layer. This side is empty, but we could adjust the color. A little sharper on this end. All right, 0 it. Seems like these controls are linked to each other. I was controlling the part. Okay. So on the side that we're using, it's actually, we'll call it animated. It's automated is the actual term. So the tonal shift is going back and forth. And here on this empty side, this is probably layer 2. Yeah, layer 2. Layer 2 is empty. Therefore, if there were any settings over here, we could open and we could put something in there. All right. Those are the layers. Then, if you're familiar with Noir, Particles Engine. Now, the Particles Engine is way more complex than I can explain. But what it does essentially is it takes some sound presets, like right now we're on Mallet Felt 2, and based on the chords you hold down, it generates patterns using an algorithm. Now, we're on Brighten Up for the pattern. We've explored this before. We could go to Extremely Bright, and this tells the algorithm what tone you want. So, close by, meaning close by to the notes that you've just played, and so on. So I'm going to put it back to Brighten Up. Okay, those are the sections. Now, you'll notice that in Piano Colors we have these colors here, and these colors correspond to these sections. Now, this one is empty, so there's no color there. But there's these colors relate, like how wide they are is related to the volume, and as you can see, the light, it's very cool. You can see the reflection on the end of that piano. That's so cool. Alright, so that would make this particles very loud. We can turn the particles down. Now, all we have going now is the arpeggiator. Turn the arpeggiator off, and you have just the piano sounds. So in this thing, we're going to go over some presets, and then in our next part, we'll look at more how to make adjustments, some starting points. I believe presets are always a great starting point. I was about to say starting points are always a great preset. Yes, we know exactly what that means. So, aleatoric sequence. The beauty of the presets is that if you don't know what you're doing with these, you can select a preset and then take a look under the hood, as we just did a bit, and see what's going on. Now, one thing I didn't talk about right there was this big knob on the top, and that is your, in this case it's linked to noises and layer 1. Let's see what it's doing. It can be linked to a number of different functions. Okay, it's an expression knob. And let's see, as it says, it modulates, controls all modulations of the instrument, and the modulation wheel is connected to the expression knob by default. Okay, so I could have been controlling it with a mod wheel over here. Now I'm going to turn this down. We're going to go through some presets. So aleatoric sequence, I like the sound of that. You can choose. So these are just broadly presets. As you can see, we clicked on that. We got, and you can either hit the close button or check mark if this is what you want. But we'll click here again. So we have all our presets. We could select a favorite, like so, and then probably a way to categorize it based on just your favorite presets, right? Yeah, there we go. You hit the star. This is very much like Alicia's Electric Keys, or Alicia's Electric Keys is like this. Very cool feature that they implemented. So we'll keep that one. There was a sequence called Butter Soft, which I would really like to, just the Butter Soft by itself. So actually, I have that over here. I'm going to open up here, and we're just going to favorite the Butter Soft, because that is one of my favorite sounds. Okay, I just like the way it sounds. So, okay, so now we've done that as a preset, and we'll bring this one back. Okay, now when we hit presets, we'll see aleatoric, and I'll probably have to refresh this to see Butter Soft again. And it's not very happy with me for doing this. Okay, Kontakt 7. By the way, if you haven't seen my video on what I hope they come out with in Kontakt 8, a couple features rather that I would like to see in Kontakt 8, you can check out the video in the card which just popped up. Okay. Piano colors. Ba ba ba. Just open it. Okay, Alien Torque. Now, let's choose this one. As you can see, the arpeggiator is turned off, and we have two layers, analog synth and pumped mallet. So we can hear them by themselves. It's a very pretty analog synth. And if we go, oh, I just made it really dark. Look at that. They have light inside the piano. Isn't that cool? Let's close up on that. Okay. Now I'm going to turn on the pumped mallet. Now, quite probably this is one of the piano sounds, and then you add the other layer. Oh. Ah, okay. So this one I was just learned. You can toggle the solo. So, particles, so if I turn... Particles is on one shot, let's solo it. Or you can turn off the power like you did before, but... Okay, so over here we got sources, it's in close by, so I think this is showing that it's exactly the note that I'm touching. And effects, okay, we don't want to take analog diffusion. It looks like that's powered off. And the volume of this is not very loud to begin with, and then the source is EBow short. So they went at the piano with all kinds of different metal screws, plastic screws, bows, all kinds of things to get these sounds. So if I were to turn that up, it's not really a loud sound to begin with. So that's what we're going on there. Look at the layer, okay. Color, so it's a harder sound to the right, softer sound to the left. So this one's kind of in the middle. EBow short, that was in the particles thing, so I guess it's in the analog synth. So if you were to go like this, got a reverse sound. Which is kind of cool that you can do that. All right, let us see another setting. Oh. Okay, this one's got the arpeggiator going. So we got string drummer, auto filter, set on drumstick. What is this set on drumstick? Cajon. How do we pronounce that? Now, and this is the arpeggiator triggering this pattern. You would not think of this as a piano sound typically. It's kind of cool that they let you play with the piano in this way. The sound possibilities are endless. So that's presets in general. Now if you go over to Snapshot, we can limit them to more piano sounding, piano-like sounds. Here we got Back in Time. Distortion is going backwards. Okay, very nice. Let's go. Okay, so these are all in the piano category. If we go instead to the pattern category, and I think you can select multiples of these, right? That's what it's doing. Okay, let's just do pattern. Fresh chimes. Fresh pattern. You can hear how that these to me these sounds are inspiring. So these are the patterns. I wonder how they say in the Kontakt 8 there will be pattern tools. I wonder how they'll compare to the preset ones you have in here. I suppose the one of the main differences, this is not a spiel on Kontakt 8, but I have been thinking about it. I wonder if the difference will be that the pattern and phrase tools will be patterns that are not found like in presets. They're just sort of randomized rather than presets. So, yeah, interesting. Okay, buzzing triplets. That should be interesting. Let it load all the way. just like the hammered dulcimer. Okay, so we got particles with string triplets. We got ebow harmonics, which we've seen before in buzzed grand. Let's solo that. Okay, it's got the arpeggiator on it. Okay, so if I don't solo it, solo this one. Ooh, you can't hear it. Solo the particles. I'm familiar with this type of sound from Noir. Okay, chord cycle. Okay, oh, but that particle soloed and it's empty, so that's why we couldn't hear it. That's what it is. All right. Okay, so we've done a few patterns here. I think we'll try pads. Okay, so turn that off. Pads only. Bowed grand. This would be one where they took a bow and run it over the strings, as Piano Guys does in some of their pieces. Breathing subs, that sounds interesting. A little scary, no? Church organ. Now that's interesting to see in piano colors, right? Very cool how that's possible. What the sounds they combined. Ooh, what was it? Okay, so we got church organ and church organ pipes. What's that? High cloud. Okay, that's the algorithm mode. So it could be higher up from the notes that you're playing, more or less, and then. Okay. You can tell that's not exactly a pipe organ, but it's adjacent to what the brass setting on a pipe organ might sound like. So. Brass, or the as it implements not implements, but imitates is the right word, orchestral instruments. Because before synthesizers, there was the organ, and that could imitate a number of different instruments, orchestral and otherwise. They had bells in there and all sorts of things. If you see that the pipe organs that are literally the size of a building, and they have all these pipes and bells and all kinds of things up in it's quite fascinating. Okay, chordal bow. Okay, so we've looked at the piano pattern, pad. We'll take a look at, we've looked at several pads, and those are very inspiring. I want to go over to ARP, dancing screws. This may be one of the ones where they used metal screws. It says straight screws in this pattern to hit strings. Solo the experimental grand. And the arpeggiator is triggering these in a simple offbeat number 3. So we're going to change it. Number 5, so on. Random doubles. I'm not in that section. Okay, here's where I want to be. Dark pendulum. These are kind of like reflective sounds that you might use in reflection. Okay, this will likely be distorted. That is percussive. Okay, drops. Very cool. Drummer. And then we'll go to particles and motion. It's pretty self-explanatory. Timpani, low staccati. All right. Okay, away from ARP, let's go to particles. Floating mallets. That one you can play much like a piano. See what hand in hand gives us. Harp glissando. It's a very fast one. Let's see what happens if we hold down more notes. Oh, that one's fun. There's harp cloud. Once again. Okay, high and sparkle, then we'll look at the motion snapshots. Very high and very sparkly. motion. And this just filtered our presets here. Ooh, that sounds interesting. Incubus. You wouldn't think of this sound as having an arpeggiator on it, but it does. See what's happening in layer 1. EBow harmonics and then EBow partials in layer 2. Okay, the tonal shift is animated on this one. Automated on both of them. So that's cool, it gives the sense of moving around. It's probably less piercing down here anyway. Jaw harmonics. Does it sound like a jaw harp? Let's solo the jaw harp. Doesn't quite sound like the jaw harp I was thinking of, which is probably the one your mouth, you know. Maybe that's not the proper name for it, but anyway. If they were huge, then it would sound like this. So that has been some of the presets, some of the snapshots. We looked at the categories. Here's snapshot. You can pick what you're actually doing. Beaten, bowed, noise, like the fluffy mallets, or plucked. We didn't actually look at these ones in that much detail yet. And that will be for another time when we'll go a little deeper into the features and see what we can paint around and come up with in this regard. Okay, so that's been a first look at Piano Colors, and I'm looking forward to exploring it more. I'm kind of working with it in this project, which I have loaded. Kind of a I was kind of going for a lo-fi type thing with this, so that's a work in progress. If you want to check out the sequence where I'm just playing with all of these, that will be at the end card coming up, where I play with Piano Colors, Noir, Una Corda, Alicia's keys, even my Moog XF8, which is sitting off to the side here. I have not done one of these with Alicia's electric keys yet. That will be probably something for the future. Though it's technically not a piano in the same way that these are. It's well, it's an electric piano, so electroacoustic. So thank you for joining me into this first look at Piano Colors. This first deep dive attempt and intro. And we'll see you in another video. Stay curious.